What's up, YouTube? This is Aaron John Streidenberger from Burger Rights. I am an aspiring speculative fiction author, and today we're going to talk about how we can learn from one of the classic pieces of Chinese literature, Sun Tzu's Art of War, and what we can take from it and learn about our own writing. For those of you who don't know, Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War in the 5th century BCE, and he was contemporary of folks like Lao Tse and Confucius. And his writings have been used by militaries all over the world for the last several thousand years. Now, I first read this book when I was a young child. My dad, I think, actually read it to me when I was a kid. And it has profoundly affected me and been something that I have learned from in a variety of ways throughout my personal and professional life, as well as my own writing. So there's going to be three things that we're going to learn from it today. This may be an ongoing series. There may be more that I pull from, but these are the three that I came away with most readily after rereading it for the umpteenth millionth time. So, first up, we have, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Chapter 3, Attack by Stratagem. This is obviously the most famous quote by Sun Tzu. It is something that you see probably a lot of different places, but it is important for us authors and writers to understand our influences. What are we writing that is influenced by other folks? A lot of times, I think authors forget this key aspect, and they end up doing things that are very derivative either of the time in history that they're drawing from, or the political movement or the philosophy that they're drawing from, or they forget the actual authors that have come before them and what they have done, and not innovated from what the authors that have come before them or writers that have come before them. But you also need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. What are you good at? What are you bad at? I know one of my strengths is writing characters and making them feel real and making them feel lived in, versus my weaknesses are probably writing descriptions that aren't just visually based. I'm a visual person, so it's sometimes difficult for me to remember that smell and taste and touch and feel are also other senses that we can exploit for our descriptions. And knowing your enemy is not just knowing the competition, but also knowing the market, knowing the medium from which you are writing. And in order to be a successful author, I think you need to know both of those things. You need to know yourself, and you need to know all the obstacles that are in your way. But also on a more personal level, knowing yourself also means when you know it's not a day to write, when you're not in the mood, when things are going on in your personal life or in your professional life outside of writing that are making it a hindrance to write. But also knowing your enemy there too is sometimes things like depression or other mental health concerns that you need to conquer and overcome just to get a single word on the page. In battle, there are not more than two methods of attack, the direct and the indirect. Yet these two in combination give rise to an endless series of maneuvers. Chapter 5, Energy. For us writers, there are two types of attacks, if you will, two types of literary devices that we can use. They are show and tell. Now, tell gets a bad rap, but there are times, just as in war, there is time for direct attack. In writing, there is a time to tell, but not show. And using the balance, using them in conjunction with each other, and knowing when to tactically show and when to tactically tell is an important, useful skill for a writer. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The soldier works out his victory in relation to the foe whom he is facing. Chapter 6, Weak Points and Strong. Sometimes we need to remember that in order to be a success, we need to adapt, and that sometimes the ground, whether it be the market, audience expectations, or even just our own abilities, mean that we cannot do the thing that we want to do. And recognizing that and being able to adapt is an important skill for writers to learn. It is also important to learn that the medium for which we are writing, whether it be novels or film and television or sequential art, that all of those mediums have different necessary things that make quality writing possible. Someone like Neil Gaiman has written for literally every medium I can think of, and no one would ever argue that his writing isn't good, and yet he has adapted every single time that he has changed mediums. When he's writing comics, he is still Neil Gaiman, but he is writing for comics. He lets the visual part of that medium speak for itself, versus when he's writing in long form prose, he writes so that he entirely shapes what the reader is thinking or feeling. And in television, he also allows the visual but also the auditory medium to convey the ideas and the ambiance that he is attempting to craft. So it is important for us to know, in order to be successful writers, in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish with the written word, what medium we are using and how we can use story, the water in this case, to better craft the eventual successful, victorious piece of art. I hope you guys enjoyed that little exploration of Sun Tzu's Art of War and how it can apply to writing. I enjoyed going back through the Art of War. It's been a couple years since I've read it, and I forgot how just impactful and how brilliant it and wise it is. If you liked this video and you want to see me do more, then please comment down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Here at Burger Rights, I'm going to be doing some stuff like this. I think my next video might be a little bit more conventional AuthorTube type thing, talking about characters or tropes or something. I haven't quite decided yet, but I hope to see you guys later. Have fun, enjoy the rest of your evening or your day or whatever it is, wherever you are watching this on the toilet, and get out there, have fun, and write well.